We need your help.
How do you feel about war?
Leave no one alive.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. I had a chance to see Invincible Season 4, Episode 1 and Episode 2. This will be my non-spoilery review. Robert Kirkman was also there and did a Q&A during the screening. He revealed a lot about the future of the show in the live-action Invincible movie, so I'll explain what's going on with that at the end of the video, too. Really good news, Season 4 episodes start next week. I'll be doing weekly episode videos like I have for previous seasons, so if you are brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything, because this season goes so much harder than Season 3. Season 4 adapts the first Viltrumite war arc in the comics. It's the next major arc after the Invincible war arc that they used for Season 3. So if you don't want to wait for all the episodes to be out, you can go read the comics right now. The comics ended a while ago. They've been out there for many years. For the most part, the show follows the comics pretty accurately. One of the things that Robert Kirkman has talked about, and that you've probably seen if you have read the comics and watched the show, is that he uses the show to rewrite a lot of his original comics, saying that he likes the opportunity because there are some things that he wrote when he was a much younger person in the early 2000s when he originally did the comics that he thought weren't that great at the time. Personally, I am a huge fan of the Invincible comics, but I guess everybody is their own worst critic, so Robert Kirkman is a very harsh critic of himself and just uses the show to redo some things that he wanted to redo if he could back in the day. As they've done in previous seasons, in the first couple of episodes, there were some extra moments that weren't in the original comics. They move a few things around in the arcs in the timeline just to restructure the story to suit a traditional TV show narrative. Most of the stuff that they did add that wasn't in the original comics are just a combination of more character moments with people that they didn't necessarily get that much time with in the original comics, like Debbie, for instance, and in some cases, an entire subplot that's original to the show, like Mark going to hell to fight the devil, which Robert Kirkman was really big on, but that's not in the first two episodes. That's just in the trailers in later episodes. For the most part, the first two episodes cover the immediate aftermath of the Invincible War, Mark's continued moral struggle over how to protect his family, his friends, and the Earth in general. And during his Q&A, Robert Kirkman said that they delighted each season in finding new lows to take Mark to every season. Like, how can we make Mark more depressed?
But trauma like that breaks people.
Each season, he faces new problems, finds new ways to overcome them, surpass his limits, Goku style, but each time, he seemingly gets darker and more depressed as a result. So no surprise, Robert Kirkman said that this season will mess with his head even more than previous seasons. If you've read the comics, you know exactly what he's talking about. But at the beginning of Episode 1, Episode 2, you really see the toll that the Invincible War took on him in wrestling with the idea that he could have prevented a lot of the big deaths if he had been willing to kill. Previously, his whole ethos this first couple of seasons as a superhero was that heroes do not kill. That was one of the reasons why he split with Cecil in the GDA, because Cecil, he thought, was too hardcore. Season 4 flips that on its head now. Cecil is the one that comes out of these first couple of episodes feeling like the super chill, well-adjusted person psychologically, and Mark is the dark one that desperately needs a therapist. Robert Kirkman also joked that if Mark were to get a therapist, then the show would be so much more boring. One of the other major differences in the way they open the season is that there's way more Omni-Man in the Viltrumites. That's like the other big conversation to have these first couple of episodes. This is like the Viltrumite season of Invincible. Robert Kirkman said one of the biggest things fans kept yelling at him about after season 1 was when they would get more Omni-Man, like more Omni-Man. And episode 2 is basically an Omni-Man episode. Without getting into spoilers, getting too deep into it, there are a ton of huge flashbacks for him on Viltrum, their home planet, before he ever came to Earth, before Mark was born, and some major reveals about him as well as the Viltrumite War in their current society. And of course, we have to talk about Thragg. There's only a little bit of Thragg in the first couple of episodes, just because he's so big this season, they slowly set him up. It's a little bit like Angstrom Levy in the fact that they slowly set him up, and he becomes a much bigger thing later in the season. And of course, there's the brand new intro title this season. Each season, they use the title to have some sort of reference or trick or Easter egg. I think this season, the title will slowly break away to reveal something that's Thragg related. It reminded me of a moment from the trailers with some of the Viltrumites. When they do drop the season 4 episodes, like the first batch, it'll be 3 episodes, so we'll get even more. You can develop your own theories after you see the new intro title for the first 3 episodes. Typically, it takes till later in the season before they fully reveal what the title is underneath, and in Season 3 it was a little bit different. It was a very villain-focused title, but they cycled the colors to reference all the different Invincible variants from different universes. I think that Season 4 is also a villain-themed title. It'll break away to be villain-related.
And rage to lead, to conquer, to kill.
Talking about some of the other big characters, there's a lot of table setting with Adam Eve's character these first couple of episodes. We can't really talk too much about what's going on with her yet because of spoilers, but if you have read the comics, please don't post that stuff. At the beginning of this season, her powers are not working right. Everything's on the fritz for a very important reason. We will talk about that after we get deeper into the episodes. Don't worry, they'll reveal what's going on with her character this season. They're not going to make you wait till like Season 5, Season 6 for some of the big twists behind her character. Alan the Alien gets way more to do at the beginning of the season because he's with Omni-Man for the first couple of episodes, and they spend the entire second episode on Omni-Man for the most part. We get way more Thetis. Robert Kirkman also spent a lot of time during the Q&A crying about Peter Cullen and how much he loved him so much and loved Transformers. He is such a huge fan of Transformers just in general, the original cartoons, the original movie, the toys, the comics. His Skybound company also does a lot of Transformers-related products in comics too. He says he spends most of Peter Cullen's recording sessions in the booth either crying because he loves him so much or secretly recording Peter Cullen on his phone while he's doing his voiceover recording sessions so he can listen to them over and over again after he goes home. Which apparently is a big no-no in Hollywood. Even though he's Robert Kirkman, technically he's the person in charge of all this stuff. So you'd think it'd be okay to do something like that. Apparently, not so much. And I know there's going to be a big question about animation quality season to season compared to Season 3. I don't think the actual animation quality has changed that much. It looked good in the first 2 episodes, but I think the moments in Season 3 that people were most critical of, that were getting a lot of play on social media, especially during the later episodes, the Invincible War arc itself, were after they started to run out of budget because it was so late in the season, and the crunch of time and money started to stretch them thin enough that it did affect the animation quality. I was only able to see Season 4 Episodes 1 and Episode 2, and that's at the beginning of the season, and there were only a couple of action scenes. The way crazier, bigger action scenes will happen later this season, so really that will be the test, animation season-to-season quality. If you're a big animation person, you probably remember Dragon Ball Super had a huge problem with this during its initial run on TV several years ago. But overall, Season 4 is a huge escalation. It seems like it'll be able to top previous seasons pretty easily. Thragg is going to be amazing. It'll go so much harder than Season 3 and Season 2.
Are you sure?
Robert Kirkman did talk a little bit about the long-term future of the show. He said they're still on track to do at least 7 seasons, like that's the current plan, and they want to do 10 to 13 even more seasons. Like, he'll keep making the show as long as Amazon will keep paying for it, but it sounds like they've only been renewed for the next couple of seasons currently. He actually said they work pretty far ahead, so like the voiceover for Season 5 was done when they were releasing Season 2 episodes. That's how many seasons ahead they were. But the actual process of animating an episode takes about 8 to 10 months, which is why when they release those first teasers each season with them in the booth at the Burger Mart, they always joke about the chibis doing the little animation and how hard they're working and how long it takes to get seasons out. He was also adamant that the live-action Invincible movie was still a thing, but wasn't a priority at Amazon right now, so it has not been canceled, but that's why you haven't heard anything about it in a while, because Amazon doesn't really care about it right now. So it sounds like it is still several years away, but eventually they'll do it at some point. But by the time they actually make it, the animated TV show might have already ended, and Steven Yeun will probably have aged out, been too old to play the live-action teenage version of Mark, and all the other younger characters too, like Gillian Jacobs wouldn't be able to play a younger Adam Eve character. Robert Kirkman spent most of the rest of the Q&A at the screening complaining about Bryan Cranston because he kept telling them no each season when they would ask him to play a character. He didn't say which character Bryan Cranston was asked to play each season, only that they asked him each season. He also tried to complain that Bryan Cranston convinced Aaron Paul to quit the show after Season 3. That's not why Aaron Paul quit. He voiced Powerplex during Season 3. Aaron Paul actually said he quit because he thought that living in Powerplex's headspace was too traumatic for him. He just couldn't handle how dark it got. Which at the time I thought was kind of lame because he played Jesse Pinkman for all those years on Breaking Bad, and his Westworld character did way darker things than Powerplex, but whatever, if he thought that it was too dark, then it's too dark for him. There are a couple notable voiceover actors over the years that have been replaced along the way, like Robot this season 2 also sounded like Zachary Quinto wasn't doing the voice anymore. He did the voice for the actual robot body, not the younger Rex clone body voice, but the actual robot voice.
Doesn't require answers to those questions.
Maybe. Maybe not.
So what'll probably happen is that you'll see more and more of this as the show continues, like guest actors, recurring actors, just for scheduling reasons, will have to leave the show or won't be able to do their character or come back, so they'll just find people that sound like them. Most of the time, you only really notice this if you're really tuned into it. There's going to be a lot to talk about in the next several weeks, so once you do have a chance to watch the first couple of episodes after they drop them, be sure to post all your reactions in the comments below. But the really big reminder is that episodes start next week. Once you do have a chance to see the first batch of episodes, post all your reactions in the comments. My full episode 1 through episode 3 Easter egg video will post next week after they release them officially, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. It'll be weekly episodes after that, after the first 3. Really good news too, because after that, Daredevil Born Again Season 2 episodes start pretty soon, then The Boys Season 5 will all be happening at the same time for a little while, so we will be eating good for the next couple of months, and then after that, House of the Dragon Season 3 episodes start this summer in June, so the first half of the year is pretty stacked. Everybody click here for all my Invincible episodes. I'll update the link as soon as I post those new Season 4 episodes, and click here for my Boys Season 5 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.